There's no question about it. The 2020-2021 MLB offseason has gotten off to a historically slow start. There's been little to no deals on the table for many players, and those that have gotten signed, most of them have been signed to a short-term contract. Many of the guys that I have mentioned or will mention in this video can be seen on my Instagram. Let's head on over there right now. One of my highlights on Instagram is I have an MLB highlight on Instagram, so let's check it out. And I've been covering moves just throughout this offseason. So Lance Lynn, that was a trade. White Sox went ahead and signed Eaton. But most of these guys, the point of me showing this is that most of these guys are getting 1 to 2 year deals. Santana, 2-year deal. Dahl, 1-year deal. Let's see who's next. McCann's actually one of the few that actually got a longer term deal, 4 years for $40 million. That's McCann again. 1-year deal for Hunter Renfroe, going over to Boston. Again, 1-year deal. Greg Holland, this was a re-signing. This is a 1-year deal. Let's just zoom through here. Zunino, 1 year. 1 year. Desclafani. 1 year. Jonathan Holder. Retirement for Howie Kendrick there. This is a 1-year deal. John Brebbia. 1 year for Syndergaard. A trade. Josh Bell traded. 1-year deal. So, point being, most of these guys are only getting 1-year deals. There's a 2-year for a relief pitcher, but 1-2-year deals for most of these guys. And it begs the question why a lot of these other players, as you've seen on my thumbnail, why Springer, JT Realmuto, DJ LeMahieu, even Trevor Bauer, why these guys have yet to get signed to this point. Trevor Bauer, I think he's really, I think he could be excluded from the conversation. I think he's more really testing the waters to see just all the different deals that are out there on the table. If you followed his social media, he's reached out to fans of different teams. He's done a lot of cool stuff on his YouTube channel, but he is really trying to get a gist of every single team that would be willing to really give him a credible offer for his talents. And so I think that he is playing the long game, and that's intentional. And I think it will pay off for him in the long run. But for the most of these guys, they're either like DJ LeMahieu, he may be seeking a re-signing from the Yankees, but a lot of these guys are seeking deals that are over 2 years, like 3 years to anywhere from 3 years to I'd say like 6 or 7 year deals. And so we're talking, medium length to long-term deals. And they're just not getting through. Again, with the exception of James McCann, you really have not seen any deals get done this entire offseason to this point, as I'm recording this video as of January the 4th. Besides James McCann, there's really been nobody that's gotten a deal over 2 years. I'm over here on my Twitter now, and I just wanted to pull out this tweet from MLB Network's John Heyman that I saw. He tweeted this 4 days ago. Yeah, December 31st. We have a timestamp right here. I'll just state it out verbatim. Market moving at an all-time slow pace. Heading into the new year, of the 301 free agents with MLB pedigree via ESPN's, estimation of who is and who isn't worthy of MLB status, only 31 of those 301 players have an MLB deal. 12 more, which would then bump that up to 43 total, have minors deals. So out of the 301, 43 of those guys have gotten signed. Only 31 have a deal with a major league baseball club, and they're going to be on an MLB team in 2021. That leaves nearly 86% of the market completely unsigned. I would say about this time at the turn of the year, 86% still left on the table. That in most off seasons that doesn't happen. The last few years we've seen a really slow off season. When we've seen the MLB off season just get off to a really slow pace, it usually picks up, I would say, about February, late February to March timeframe. Once clubs really start to report to spring training, we've seen these just these huge bursts and deals and free agency and signings and trades. That's usually when a lot of teams are trying to feel out their opening day lineup and what that's going to look like come late March, early April. What is that final game day lineup going to look like for my MLB ball club? And so that's why you see a lot of movement kind of last minute right before spring training. I really just want to use this tweet to kind of have a discussion on why is there so many free agents still on the table? Why is so much of the market left completely unsigned? And why is so much of the market still just left sitting? So I want to use MLB The Show 20 to kind of paint a picture of what I think's going on with MLB ball clubs and why we're seeing so much of the 2020-2021 MLB free agent market just kind of left sitting. And I think that this game gives us a good grasp of maybe what's happening. It was, and I'll go ahead and throw it up on the screen right now. There's several reports that from MLB sources and MLB reporters, as well as personnel within the league, stating that MLB baseball lost nearly $3.1 billion in 2020. Let that sink in for a minute. Major League Baseball lost nearly $3.1 billion this last season. Where's that money coming from? That $3.1 billion, where, exactly what kind of revenue are we talking about here? I think MLB The Show 20 will help paint that picture for you, and I can then estimate through this game maybe what is happening. I'm not hired by by Major League Baseball. I'm not a GM. I don't own a team. I'm not a team owner. Maybe my assumption's completely wrong. But I think that I can at least perhaps paint a picture of a little bit of what is going on, and that what kind of pieces are missing from the puzzle. But I may not be able to pick up all the pieces. I may only be able to pick up a few. So over here in MLB The Show 20, as you guys can see, kind of ignore all the players. Like, this is not updated at all. Alex Gordon's retired. He's not even on the roster anymore. He's hung up his cleats. So just kind of ignore the players. The players are kind of irrelevant, and the player salaries are irrelevant. What I want you guys to focus on is the current weekly budget up in the top left-hand corner, and I'll zoom in on that. And as you can see, we have team revenue, revenue sharing, player salaries, coach salaries, and scout salaries. Now, one of the things that isn't actually listed here on the weekly budget that would be for an MLB ball club in real life would be fan revenue. So this is sales from like jersey sales and team store sales within the stadium, concession items. I could only imagine what some of these organizations, MLB organizations, are making off concession items, every season. Then you have like promotion schedules as well. Think about all the promotions that you probably lost out on if you were regularly attending games in 2019. You get these, if you go to like a weekend game, you may get some kind of a handout. You may get a free shirt, or you may get a free bobblehead, for example. None of that was a thing due to no fans in attendance. In addition to that, what about the employees that are manning the stations for concession items, for selling you that merchandise, that jersey, that T-shirt, that hat? They're not in the stadium either. In addition to the staff that we're talking about here, you have to think about in-game staff, the staff that's preparing the field. You have to think about the staff that has to prepare the field and get the playing field ready, ready for an MLB baseball game. And I would imagine that, some of that in-game staff was probably either furloughed or completely eliminated altogether, because you're not needing as many people to really prepare that field if you don't have fans. If you don't have that element of fans. Some of the in-game staff is probably security related. I'm sure they still had security at MLB stadiums in 2020, but surely they didn't have what they would normally have for a game if they don't have any fans. You know, some people are hired just simply for fan interaction at games, and it was eliminated in 2020. It wasn't there. You know, it was completely gone. So you're talking sales from merchandise, sales from concessions, employee salaries, which would include, you know, the individuals working at the concessions, the individuals working in the team stores, security staff and personnel, vendors. What about vendors? You know, the yellow and or orange shirts walking down the aisles selling what popcorn and cotton candy and you know, and of course you have your adult beverages as well. But there's no vendors. There's no fans. There's no need for vendors. On the topic of fans, I do need to mention that the MLB did have some fans in attendance in the 2020 MLB season, but this did not come until the playoffs. I believe they had fans at the National League Championship Series as well as the World Series, which was played in Arlington, Texas. But, you know, even at Globe Life Field, which was just opened and had like a capacity, or it had a holding capacity of, I believe, 45,000 to 50,000 fans total, they were only packing around 11,000 to 13,000 fans in that stadium to maintain distancing as part of, you know, protocol due to the pandemic, due to the global health crisis. But I believe the percentage, I believe it ended up being, I think that they said they were able to put around 22% of full capacity in that stadium. And, you know, it's no surprise that MLB baseball has lost that enormous amount of money, because, you know, just think about how much concessions, the atmosphere, you know, the different food items, the different merchandise, you know, merchandise that you're purchasing at the stadiums, how much of your money kind of goes into that. Ticket sales, I didn't even mention that. You have to have a ticket to get in, duh. There's no ticket sales, so or little to none until the postseason. So you know, the ticket sales are a big thing for sure for any MLB organization. I think that fan revenue is just a small portion, as well as all the you know, all the subsections of fan revenue that we've went over with the concessions, the team items and the team stores, in-game staff, the security, you know, ticket sales as well. All these different subsections. It's added up. I mean, it adds up. I don't know what else to say. I think that fan revenue has really played a factor into some of these guys that are seeking longer term contracts, like George Springer, JT Realmuto, Trevor Bauer. That's just to name a few. I'm trying to think of Marcelo Zuna as well. I think that fan revenue and that buildup, that $3.1 billion lost, is catching up. It's catching up to the league in general. Do I think that these guys can still get signed on? Absolutely. But you know, it stands to reason that it would be ignorant of us to think that that amount of money, that huge loss, wouldn't play some kind of a factor into these players having a little bit of issue of signing these deals, or the MLB offseason getting off to a slower pace than what we're accustomed to seeing. Surely this plays some sort of a factor. And that's going to do it for this video, guys. I hope that you guys really enjoyed. If you did, leave a like on the video, comment, subscribe, turn the bell notifications on down below. I'd really appreciate any support that you're able to give. And again, Happy New Year to you all. I hope that you all are really pushing forward with your New Year's resolutions. And 2021 is going to be a year of turnaround. That's going to do it. That's it. Taper time out. Peace.